Hello and welcome back to the world of Oblivion for another little Nyxus guide. Now, let me level with you guys for a second. I so totally wanted to do a Nirnroot guide for you guys today, in which I would go and find all 309 static, non-respawning locations of all the Nirnroot in the game. But after looking at the list and realizing how many there were, I definitely did not want to do that today. So instead, we are here next to the Wawnet Inn, just outside the Imperial City, where you might find a little quest from the inn owner.
Welcome to the Wawnet Inn. Could I interest you in a room or perhaps a bit of wine? Yes, actually, I'm quite fond of collecting all manners of wines from all over Tamriel. But one vintage continues to elude me. Shadowbanish Wine. How I'd love to add it to my collection. Say, that gives me an idea. You look like the adventuring type. If you can retrieve 6 bottles of Shadowbanish Wine, I'll gladly pay you well. All I know about them is that they're found in the many fort ruins scattered all over Cyrodiil.
So, as Nerussa said, she wants 6 bottles of Shadowbanish Wine, and she doesn't have any locations. They are just found in various forts throughout Cyrodiil, but they are found in very specific forts. Each fort has a chest in it that has 2 bottles. They do respawn, so you can visit the same fort 3 times, just waiting for them to respawn. Or you can just go to 3 different forts. The problem, however, is finding these locations without having any prior knowledge. So today, we're going to go to every location in Cyrodiil that has some Shadowbanish Wine. The first 2 bottles that we will find today are here in Fort Aurus, just northeast of Breville on the other side of the bay, and if you work your way down to this room through all the winding passages, you'll find this chest here with 2 Shadowbanish Wine. If you're ever in the neighborhood of Coral, if you go directly south to Fort Carmala, you may have to fight through some vampires, but here at the end of the dungeon, you will find yet another 2 bottles of Shadowbanish Wine. To the northwest of Skingrad, you will find Fort Dirich. And if you make your way to the end through all the liches and other terrible enemies here, you will find this chest against the wall with 2 more Shadowbanish Wine. This is Fort Grief, and it's actually located just south of Fort Aurus, which we've already visited. But sadly, you cannot open the gate to this place until you start its quest in Breville. In order to start this quest, you're gonna want to find Urson here.
I'm sorry to impose upon you like this, but I'm in need of assistance, and I don't know what to do. My husband, Alaron, is missing. It all started when Alaron became foolish and started gambling. He'd visit the arena every week and spend our hard-earned money on bets. I told him to stop, but he didn't listen. He was certain he could win us a fortune and move us somewhere nicer, like the Imperial City. It didn't take long for Alaron to begin losing. He resorted to borrowing money from a usurer to cover his losses and place new bets. As you can imagine, it didn't pay off. He ended up owing around 500 gold. We could never have that kind of money to pay back the usurer. Yesterday, the usurer, Curden Grodregel, sent for my husband to meet him at the Lonely Suitor Lodge. He hasn't returned since. I fear for his life. Curden isn't known for his patience. Please, I'm not wealthy, but I'd give anything to see Alaron again. You will? Oh, thank you. Please be careful. I don't wish any harm to befall you either.
Yeah, what do you want? Maybe I know him, maybe I don't. But since you're so interested, I know something that could jar my memory. I just learned that a family heirloom, the Axe of Dragol, which one of my stupid relatives lost, is located on Fort Grief Island in Nibbin Bay. My informant tell me it's hidden in the main keep at the center. Don't know what's guarding it, but I'm sure you can handle it. If you go there and bring it back to me, I'll tell you exactly where Alaron is. Then Alaron may not be coming home from his, journey for a very long time. Like, permanently. Whenever you're ready, and it better be soon, I'll have a boat waiting for you to get to Fort Grief Island.
And then, once you have taken the boat and arrive at Fort Grief, the switch handle should suddenly work for you. Now, there is a whole thing where you can find Aetheron, but if you just want the Shadowbanish Wine, head over here to the top, and it's going to be in this wooden chest. Now, I might be wrong. Let me double check, but I think at this point, you cannot leave the island. You can. If you interact with Aetheron, you will be stuck there, though, and have to finish the quest. Fort Irony is located on the southern part of the Nibbin Bay. Personally, if you want to get this quest done quick, I would recommend just cutting from Aurus to Preville to start the Fort Grief quest, and then heading here to get all 6 bottles you need. But otherwise, when you come here, it's just a short walk inside to this room here, find this chest, and grab yourself 2 more. Fort Magia is located just east of the Imperial City, which sounds really convenient until you go in and you realize you have to go to the 3rd area of the dungeon, the garrison blocks, all the way to this little hallway here through a bunch of enemies just to get 2 bottles. Do not recommend. If you're ever in the wilderness and the mountains behind Shadenhall, you might find Fort Scinia, and if you work your way all the way to the Hall of Legends inside, at the end of the hallway, you will find 2 more Shadowbanish Wine. The last enemy-inhabited fort that you'll have to go to gather some of this Shadowbanish Wine is going to be Fort Vlastarus, just east of Skingrad here. You'll make your way down the winding path past the catacomb area to this room right here and find the chest against the pillar. Now, I said the last enemy-owned fort in the game, and also that was the last Shadowbanish Wine you can get in the base game. But if you have the DLC, and if you own Battlehorn Castle, you can come on down to the wine cellar in the basement. Now, I don't know if you actually need the wine cellar upgrade. I would assume you do. But once you do, you'll have 1 more bottle of Shadowbanish Wine sitting here on this rack. Now, beware that this one and the next and final bottle that I'm going to show you, these 2 do not respawn. So while they are incredibly easy to get, you can only get them once. So you'll still have to visit 2 of the other dungeons. Your other DLC-related Shadowbanish bottle is gonna be in Frostcrag Spire. Now, you probably need the vault upgrade in order for it to appear, and once again, like the one in Battlehorn, it will not respawn after you grab it. But it is a free bottle. If you come back here to the wine rack, it is sitting just on top. Once you've obtained at least 6 bottles of the wine, you can return to Nerussa here at the Wawnet Inn and turn in the quest.
Any luck on those bottles of Shadowbanish Wine yet? Well, apparently the wine is so rare because it was...
That's not the right option. You want to use the wine option.
I'm at a loss for words. You actually found 6! These will hold an honored place in my collection. I don't know what else to say, but thank you. Oh, I almost forgot. Here's your finder's fee, worth every single coin, I assure you. I'll tell you what else I'll do since you seem so resourceful. If you find any more bottles of the wine, I'll gladly pay you well for them.
And for giving her all 6 bottles, she will give you 1,000 gold and finish the quest for you. Now, what do you do with all the extra wine? Well, like she said, you can still bring them to her, and she'll still buy them from you for a very disappointing price.
You have more? Amazing! Well, as promised, your finder's fee once again.
And this time you only get 100 gold per bottle. So is it really
Remember
worth
me
getting
if you
more
find
than
more
6 of
Shadowbanish
these?
wine.
Not really. I'm not going to go through a
What is
whole
it, citizen?
dungeon just to grab 2 of these and get 200 gold. But now you know at least enough to finish the quest for her. Thank you all for watching. I don't know if I'll do the Nern route next week, or if it'll be some other guide, but it will definitely be a guide from Oblivion nonetheless. So I'll see you then. Bye-bye.